So, as y'all know, anytime that I do something, I like to do definitions. So, we're going to start with definitions. What is a leader, right? This will tell us yes or no on this question. We have to figure out what it is. And the reason I do definitions is so that everyone is on the same page about what we mean when we say something. Because the English language is very weird and words have multiple meanings. And then sometimes those meanings have multiple meanings. And before you know it, you have a bunch of confusion. So these definitions came from Merriam-Webster Dictionary.com and the last one from myself. So leader, now a person or thing that leads, right? What's the key word in that? It says a person or thing that leads. I found that interesting just looking at it. I was like, oh, what thing that leads? Interesting. Then it says a guiding or directing head, as of what? An army, movement, or political group. Third, a person who has commanding influence or authority. And last, that what we tend to think of as the head of an organization, right? That's what we tend to think of. Now we're going to go back through each one of these again and really break them down. And Brother Lance says, personally, I think so, because without some sort of leadership, you don't have any kind of structure. That is a key point that I'm getting to, right? So the second definition is very interesting to me. It says a guiding or directing head, as of an army, movement, or political group. Now, here's a question, and y'all tell me yes or no in the chat. Are Black people at or in a war? Y'all answer that in the chat. If we are in a war or at war, just put a Y. If not, just put an N. I'll be waiting here for the responses, right? And then it says movement or political group. Now, if we study historically, right, have we had any movement, any political group, which means a group that's dealing with or administrating power? That's what a political group is. Or any type of army since we've been here. And if we had those things, or if we didn't have them and we need those things, then at some point we will need leaders. Because here's the thing. Every time I ask the question, and this time when I ask the question, I put up plural. We're going to talk about why people say that we don't need a leader in a minute. But for this discussion, I put up plural. Now, everybody agrees so far, everybody that has responded. I got 2 Y's, a yes, we're at war at all directions, and a we have been at war since our ancestors were kidnapped. So we have a consensus from everyone who has responded that yes, we are at war. Or a better way to put it, to be completely honest, is, war is being made upon Black people. So if war is being made upon us, and one of the first aspects of war is deception, then that means that people would need a guide in order to keep them from being deceived, so that you don't fall victim to the war. Is that right? So black people in America, for I would say the last approximately 35 years, have had access to more guns than we've had in the 60 years before that. Right? More weapons have been manufactured and are manufactured here and are here in America than any other place in the world. Black people have had access to those guns. Has that benefited us in any way, shape, or form? Yeah, y'all can answer below. And if it hasn't, why not? Right? Because we all have agreed, hey, we are and have been at war for some time. One of the things that you do when you've been at war is you arm yourself, right? But the guns have been pointed in the wrong direction. We've been shooting ourselves more than we've been shooting our enemies. I know, I've lived through most of it. Why? Because we did not have enough guiding or directing heads as of an army, movement, or political group. It's very simple. Now, if you look at a society, right? Most no, every society on earth, right? When we talk about a leading or guiding head, that starts not at the level of government, but it starts at the level of the home. In most societies, that person is the male of the household, the father, etc. In some societies, and usually only African societies, it may be a matriarchal structure, right? In a true African sense, it is really a balance where different roles are played in the form of mayat. But the person having the greater knowledge, which is usually the man, because usually the man will be older and have more life experience than a woman, that man will be the leader of the family, but the woman would then be the leader of the children. So it's filtering from from him to her through the children. If that system, which is the African system we've had in place for millions of years, is broken down and you remove a cog out of it, you suddenly have a breakdown in leadership. And that's where we've been for the last 40 years. The constant assault on the man got to the point where it broke us. I contend, and y'all can disagree, I contend that they broke the family and stopped the reproduction of leadership. And this is the point of delineation time-wise. I make it at the passing of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad in 2001. We have not had effective national leadership since 2001. We have not had what? A guiding or directing head as of an army, movement, or political group. If you are, and brother, you got ripped off is not in here, but he asked me a question. I'm going to do a video for his question. In 1989, 88, 87, 91, in that area, right? When people of my generation generally got knowledge, you had Minister Farrakhan, and underneath him, Khalid Muhammad. You had Amos Wilson, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Del Jones, Ishaka Musa Barashango, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, Mama Marimba Ani, And these are just some of the people who were alive at that time. You had various organizations of various types, UNIA sections, different religious nationalist groups, so forth and so on, right? The atmosphere was different because the number of leaders and institutions were more numerous and stronger, right? So I say that to say no one in 1987, 1988, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, the discussion was never had of whether or not we need leaders. You know why? Because we had them. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at DcRadical1. On Twitter, we're at DC_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DCRadical1. Thank you again.